Welcome to everybody around the world and to all my subscribers. This is the part 2 that I said I was going to do, where I talked about doing yesterday for my little Operation Rendezvous. So I'm going to get biblical for this one here. If you're not a biblical person, if you're not religious, then this may not be for you. But if, I urge you to stay and listen. It might be very interesting for you. But nonetheless, I'm going biblical on this one here. And it's ironic that I didn't make this video last night and I'm making it today because of the flack that I got on my first video. So it's unfortunate, but I expected some people to get like that. I even voiced my opinion on that while I was actually narrating the video while recording it. So I knew I'd have some issue coming from other religious people. So I'm here to set the record straight. I'm here to absolutely prove, biblically prove, that what I've claimed is true, okay? Biblically, you can't argue with me. Go argue with God if you don't like what I have to say, you know what I mean? So, like the title says, if you want to demonize aliens, you kiss Jesus goodbye. You're not going to get your salvation. You're going to be left here on earth to burn up with all the sinners. You think I'm crazy? Well, then sit down, be patient, and listen as I show you from the scripture, okay? Before I start pulling out all the verses, let me do a little micro summary for people, right? Aliens are not demons. Okay? They are not demons. They're not. Okay? We have to get that abundantly clear first. It doesn't say that anywhere in the Bible, for starters. It says the opposite. But anyways, right? I don't know where people get this idea from. They just have this fear of something that doesn't look like them. It must be a demon. Just like all those racist white people, etc., back in the Middle Ages, who saw Africans for the first time and thought, oh, these people aren't equal to us. Let's mistreat them. You know what I mean? Let's demonize them. That's not how you're supposed to operate. You know what I mean? It's supposed to be peace and love to all living things. Okay? You don't judge a creature or a being by its appearance or where it's from. You know what I mean? That's called racism and prejudice. You judge a being based on the content of its character. Just like Martin Luther King said. And it's very, very, very true. Okay? That must be made abundantly clear, okay? I'm going to start off right now with Jude 1, okay? Where it tells you not to slander celestial beings, okay? Well, isn't this ironic? Wow. Okay, in verse 8 from Jude 1, it says, in like manner, nevertheless, those dreaming also the flesh indeed do defile, and lordship they put away, and dignities they speak evil of. The dignities here are the celestial beings. Okay? Anyways, I'll get to that, right? Yet Michael, the chief messenger, when with the devil contending, he was disputing about the body of Moses, did not dare to bring up an evil-speaking judgment, but said, the Lord rebuke thee. Now let's just stop right there. Before I go further, it just said in verse 8 that you shouldn't, what is it? You're going to defile your flesh, okay, if you put away the lordships and speak evil of the dignities, okay? Some people might argue, oh, well, what is a dignity? Well, verse 9, we got the example of Jesus contending with Satan. Don't get much worse than Satan, right? Don't get much better than Jesus. But what did Jesus do when contending with Satan? Did he demonize Satan? Did he slander Satan? You know what I mean? What did he do? It says he did not dare to bring up an evil-speaking judgment. That's even against the prince of darkness. So why do human beings feel so comfortable slandering an entire cosmos full of living beings? Just because they're from a different place and they look different. It's lunacy. It's apostasy. Okay? And as you'll see from all the other Bible verses I'm going to pull out, these aliens are the ones who are going to be coming with Jesus. You just don't like the name aliens, right? They're going to be the messengers who Jesus comes with. They are going to be the ones who gather you. If you demonize aliens, you ain't going to be saved. They're going to turn their back to you and spit on you and say, well, forget you. You know what I mean? That's why you got to get your facts in order now. Get your facts in order and straight first now, right? You're not even allowed to slander Satan. You're not allowed to slander even Satan. Yesterday, I had this big video planned where I was going to do like this thing to like punish Satan. You know, at the end of it, before I made it, I was like, you know what? I better watch my P's and Q's. I better not do this because it's wrong. And I did the right thing by changing my mind, right? I didn't even think of this verse when I made that decision. But even Jesus said, don't you dare even slander the chief of the evil ones. So keep that in mind before you slander extraterrestrials, right? Just because where they're from. It's like you live in New York and you don't like people from the south of New York. You know what I mean? They come up in your area. Hey, where are you from? You look different. Where are you from? I'm from the south. Oh, you're not from here? You must be evil. You know what I mean? Like, that's not how reality works, people. Okay? It's not how reality works. All right? But anyways, let's continue here. Right after Jesus says, did not dare bring up an evil-speaking judgment, but said, the Lord rebuke thee. It says, and these, as many things indeed as they have not known, they speak evil of. Right? What was I just saying? Right? Verse 10, and these, as many things indeed as they have not known. So when you don't know about something, you shouldn't talk about it, right? They speak evil of. So this is convicting people, chastising people who demonize the celestial ones. Okay? That's literally what this chapter is about. Literally. Okay? And as many things as naturally as the irrational beasts. So it's calling people who do that irrational beasts. Right? They understand, and in these they are corrupted. So if you want to sit there and slander every other being out there in the cosmos, okay, you've defiled your flesh. This is what the Word of God says. You've put away the lordship which God has appointed. Okay? You're speaking evil of dignities. You're defying the command of Jesus here, not to slander them. You don't know what you're talking about, it says in verse 10. It calls you irrational beasts in verse 10. And you become corrupted in verse 10. In verse 11, woe to them, because in the way of Cain they did go on. So it's comparing you to Cain, right? And to the deceit of Balaam, for reward they did rush, and in the gainsaying of Korah they did perish. Now, this is a broad concept, this chapter, but it's actually, when it starts off, at the beginning of the chapter, it's talking about the fallen ones. That makes it even worse in light of what I'm just saying. Because if you're demonizing everything else out there, is literally putting you in the same category as the fallen angels. So the next time you want to go and slander every other thing out there in the cosmos, just remember, according to the Bible, you're acting like one of the fallen angels. Right? So where are you going to be when Jesus comes back? But I got lots more scripture to pull out here, okay? People got to wise up because we're in the final years now. It could come any moment. It could come today. It doesn't have to come at 2023. It could come sooner. It could come today. And if that time comes and you're demonizing everybody else, what do demons do? They demonize. So if you're demonizing people, you're a demon. Okay? So stop being demonic and stop demonizing. Start loving. Okay? Judge by the content of their character, not by their appearance or where they're from. It's quite simple. Yeah, welcome. Gadriel, I've heard that name, but I can't remember offhand much about Gadriel. But either way, I think this is all I need to read here from Jude. Let's close Jude now. I got some really, really powerful verses here, okay? Now, search the original translation for the word authorities. Okay, authorities, dignities, these are the words used, right? Check this one out, okay? Check this one out. Just to prove that dignities, authorities, principalities is talking about these higher beings, the celestial beings, okay? Check what it says in Romans 13. Romans 13:1. Let every soul, higher authorities, be subject. For there is no authority except from God, and the authorities existing are appointed by God. This ain't talking about earthly kings. This is not talking about earthly kings. In a minor reflection, it can do. But God does not appoint evil kings. Did God appoint Nebuchadnezzar, where he was throwing Jews into the furnace? Did God appoint that? You know what I mean? No. Did God appoint King Nimrod, who rebelled against God? Why would God appoint the king who rebels against God? Right? Thank you. It's talking about the higher authorities. Okay? Let every soul to the higher authorities be subject. You have to make yourself subject to them. Okay? For there is no authority except from God, and the authorities existing are appointed by God. Now, anybody who says, oh, but it's just talking about earthly kings. Ephesians 3:10. that there might be made known now to the principalities and the authorities in the heavenly places. So the principalities, the authorities, including the dignities, they are the ones in the heavenly places. Okay? And later on, I will prove with the scripture, not my own opinion, the scripture, that the heavens are outer space. Nobody can deny this. Okay? Nobody. I am very passionate about this. Very, very passionate about this. Okay? And hopefully, my passion about this convict people who have been so grievously wrong to turn from their wicked ways. Because, you might think to yourself, because you're being pompous, oh, I'm not being wicked. I'm just doing the right thing. I think it's the right thing. Well, that's why I use the example of the white people and whoever else who went into Africa, saw these Africans who are blessed people in the image of God, and they thought, oh, they don't look like me. They're from a different place. They must be monsters. You know what I mean? And then they treat them like crap. That's not how you're supposed to operate. Okay? That's not how you operate. Anyways, right? Ephesians 6:12, just more proof that the authorities and all that there are not earthly, they're heavenly, right? Because we have not the wrestling with blood and flesh, but with the principalities and the authorities and the world rulers of darkness of this age. World rulers. World. That's the earth. The world rulers, right? And with the spiritual things of the evil in the heavenly places. We know that when Jesus died, he cast down Satan and all his messengers. Let's go prove that. If I don't bring that up now, I'll forget, and then other people will be like, oh, well, so let's go pull that one up now. Revelation 12, okay? When, after Jesus died, it wasn't immediately. After Jesus died, it doesn't give a time period. Revelation 12, when Jesus died, he ascended up. And over some X period of time, he and Michael did battle with all the bad ones and cast them down to earth. Okay, so it's not my opinion. I'm just trusting in what the word says, right? Let's read some of these. Oh, nice. Excellent, man. Excellent. Get it in the original translation and not this one here. Here we go. And the reason I'm bringing this up now is because Paul wrote those books. All of these books are written by Paul in 50 AD. Okay? Revelation 12, which I'm about to read, we know Jesus died 29 AD. Right? 29, 30, 31, 32, who cares, right? It's not worth fussing over a couple of years. He died around 30 AD, just say, right? Paul wrote those books 20 years later. There's no clue to when Satan and his messengers were cast down. We just know that after Jesus died and rose up, that they were cast down at some point. Okay? Just to prove what I'm trying to prove here. You know what I mean? Just trying to prove my point here. It's in Revelation 12, okay? In verse 5, and she, Israel, brought forth a male child, who was about to rule all the nations with a rod of iron. And caught away was her child unto God and his throne. This is referencing his ascension, okay, after death. And then later in verse 7, and there came war in the heaven. So that's proof right there that up until Jesus died and ascended, Satan was still up there. He was still up in the heavens. And again, I'm going to prove the heavens is outer space with the Bible, okay? So he was up in the heavens with all the bad guys. That's why Jesus said, at one point, I'm not going to look for this verse right now. He said, until now, strong ones are entering my Father's kingdom and doing violence. That's because Satan and his minions still had access to the celestial realms. Okay, they had to be cast down. Alright? So it says here in verse 7, and there came war in the heaven. Michael and his messengers did war against the dragon, and the dragon did war and his messengers. And they did not prevail, nor was their place found any more in the heaven. So let me just read that again, right? Because I said in my first video yesterday that going by the Bible and even by my own experience, there's no bad ones up there anymore. If you don't want to agree with that, then you might as well spit on the word of God. You know what I mean? It said right here, and they did not prevail, nor was their place found any more in the heaven. Verse 9, and the dragon was cast forth, the old serpent, who is called the devil, and the adversary, who is leading astray the whole world. He was cast forth to the earth, and his messengers were cast forth with him. And then after he was cast down, what does it say in verse 10? And I heard a great voice saying in heaven, now Not before. Now did come the salvation and the power and the reign of our God and the authority of his Christ, because cast down was the accuser of our brethren. Okay? So at some period of time, after 29 to 32 AD, all of this took place. We can't say for sure when. It could have been a couple hundred years later. We don't know. But once he was cast down, after that point, there's no more bad ones up there at all. None at all. I mean, come on, let's use logical common sense, right? How long is God going to tolerate in his heavens bad stuff happening? Okay, that's why he picked the deadline, right? Deadline was entwined with his son, his first son, the primordial son of God, the first of all creation, Jesus, right? It was tied to that. That's what the deadline was tied to, okay? So it's very true when I say that there's no bad ones up there, right? The bad ones are all here. And I've long said that a lot of the aliens, sorry, not gas, a lot of the aliens who are visiting or interacting with people, they're not actually from outer space. I mean, everybody's so quick to think, oh, these evil aliens, they're from Draco or Zeta Reticuli and this and that there. They're so quick to think that, but that contradicts the Bible. If you want to call yourself a biblical, you can't be thinking like that. You see what I mean? That's why I've long said most of the aliens that interact with Earth, okay, that visibly interact with Earth, they're terrestrial based. I didn't say all of them, but most of them. I don't know the true number. I just venture to guess probably 90% are terrestrial based, okay? But as I pointed out in my first video yesterday, the Bible says that aliens are angels. The word angels doesn't even exist. It's an English word. It doesn't exist in the original language. The original language says messengers. And I'm going to get into this. What are messengers and where do they live? Outer space. The stars. I will prove this. It's undeniable. Okay, prove it. So, if something's coming down from the heavens, okay, if something's coming down from the heavens, it's going to be angels. Good extraterrestrials. And I also stated, yes, there are beings that go beyond physical body, spiritual, or a higher body, whatever you want to call it, who cares? Etheric bodies, who cares? They don't have to all be physical, right? There's good ones that are physical and good that aren't physical, you know what I mean? And there's higher forms in the highest heaven. I've always said that, and I clarified that in the first video as well. But you will never see bad beings coming down from the heavens. You won't, okay? You just simply won't. So let's close Revelations 12. Take a sip of my coffee. Just to remind the anybody watching right now, like Wiley and everybody else, I can't remember who's heard me say this before. The device that I do my streaming on, it doesn't show all the comments like prolongedly. It only shows them for a split second when you type them. I don't know how to change that. So if I see them pop up, I'll try to read them if it's not going to break my train of thought, right? I'm only doing this for the sake of the viewer. It's not that I'm trying to be mean or ignoring people or anything like that. I just want to make that clear. I have an issue with my train of thought, and if I get sidetracked, usually I can't remember what I'm going to say, and then the video will just look like real lumpy, you know what I mean? So don't think that I'm ignoring you or anything like that there. So, for the people who say that, oh, well, I mean, remember, everything I just said is biblical facts. So if you consider yourself a religious person, you can't puke those facts out. You got to digest them, right? But I know some hard-headed people will say, oh, no, angels are spirits. Angels are spirits. Let's point this out, right? Let's think about this earlier. This is so funny. Because the same people, I mean, this is how you know when you've been duped by Satan, right? When you literally contradict your own words. Okay, and you can't realize it because you've got the wool pulled over your eyes. The same people who say that all angels are spirits are the same ones who turn around and say that demons are spirits. They will not say that demons are in the flesh. Okay? So what you're actually saying is that good and evil are both spirits. So how in the world are you going to tell the two apart? How in the world are you going to tell them apart? Oh, that's right. The scripture, it says, test all the spirits when they come to you. And what does that reflect back on? What I said earlier. You judge something by its character, not by its appearance or where it is from. So just because a being comes down from the heavens, whether spirit or flesh, who cares? No matter what it is, if it comes down, you don't judge it based on its appearance or where it came from. You judge it based on its character. Okay? But let's go and look at a piece of biblical proof to squash that theory. Okay? Demons is just a word for something that acts demonically. Right? You could be a human who is demonic, especially if you're demonizing everybody else, right? That's what it goes right hand in hand. A Satanist who tortures people or whatever, you're a demon. You just happen to be in human form, okay? But you're acting like a demon. There's nowhere in the Bible where it says that demons are only spirit, okay? Demons can be spirit if they're in the Hades, okay? And the Hades is all around us too. That's why Jesus cast demons out of people and all of that there, right? But my point is, demons are not just spiritual, okay? And angels are not just spiritual. In both sides of the board, it's physical and spiritual, and a quasi-third tier, which we can't even categorize. Like when Jesus resurrected, he was in his physical body with the same wounds. That's physical, right? It says in the New Testament that if you say Jesus was a spirit, anathema let you be. You're an antichrist. Jesus came in the flesh. So Jesus came in the flesh. He resurrected in the flesh. And then what did he do? He was transfigured into what? A spirit? No. Because he ate food with the people and everything. He transfigured into a glorified paradise body. Okay, which Paul talks about later on. We all go on to receive this paradise body. That's what I meant by quasi. You can't pin it down as being physical or spiritual. It's beyond all that. It's superior, like a son of God, not able to die. That's what the scriptures say. Okay? So the point being is, angels can be flesh or spirit. Demons can be flesh or spirit. For example, when Abraham entertained the 3 messengers who came to him, okay, they weren't spirits. They were physical. They ate food with him. How could any Christian sit there and pompously say, oh, all angels are spirits? You haven't even read the Bible. You know what I mean? You haven't read the Bible. If you still want to be defined after hearing about the Abraham example, let me draw on the example when Jesus resurrected and people thought that he was a spirit. Jesus chastised them and said, does a spirit eat food like I just did in front of you? Thank you. So the 3 messengers who came to Abraham weren't spirits. They ate food. They're physical beings. Physical. Okay? Physical. Schooling folks here. Schooling them. All right? So in the search for authorities, let's go back to authorities, right? So I clarified all that because Ephesians 6:12 made mention to the spiritual things of the evil in the heavenly places. People would think, oh, wait a second, that's a little confusing. I thought you said that's why I went into that whole spew with Revelation 12 and they're cast down. Paul wrote that very book in 50 AD, probably before they were cast down. Okay? That's why all throughout the text, throughout the New Testament, it's talking about the reign of God is nigh, it's near, it's about to come. The end of this age is about to come. Okay? About to come. Titus 3:1. This one I wasn't even ready for. It just happened to be here. This is convenient. It says, remind them to be subject to principalities and authorities, to obey rule, unto every good work, to be ready. Oh, okay. Well, there you go, right? 1 Peter 3:22, who is at the right hand of God, talking about Jesus, having gone on to the heaven, messengers and authorities and powers having been subjected to him. Why is that? Because like I talked about in my book, and as I'll get into later, Jesus is the Prince of the heavens. He's the Prince of the celestial host. He rules over all of them. He's the big honcho under God, number 2. Okay, there's God number 1, and then you had firstborn of all creation, his divine son, the primordial son, Jesus. Okay, he was appointed heir of all things, and after he earned it on his earthly role, he went up, fulfilled it all, and now he rules over them all. That's why when Jesus comes back, like I'm about to read these verses, he comes back with all of his army and host from the heavens. Okay? So that's it for authorities. Let's go to messengers. No, I think first what I need to do is prove the heavens are outer space. So let's do that search first. I got to be passionate about this. Well, I am just passionate about it. I can't help that. But it's good to be passionate about this because So many Christians are naive to this, right? Yeah, as saints. Now, if I heard myself say this like 15 years ago, I would have thought, that guy's crazy. I'll admit that, right? There's always stages of awareness and knowledge. I didn't know all this stuff a long time ago, right? Nobody's going to go from zero to hero immediately. You got to go through stages. The only way you move up is by making mistakes in knowledge and then learning from your mistakes. But if you never take a step back outside of the box and then criticize yourself, which is how the only way I progressed, okay, if you don't do that with yourself, you'll never climb higher. You'll dwell in this little box where you heard one guy somewhere say, oh, aliens are all demons. And then you're never going to come out of that box, right? You have to learn from your mistakes, try everything in the fire. Well, there's 500 uses of the word heavens in the Bible. So to narrow this down, let's do a search for heavens and stars. That narrows it down to 21. This is proof. This is proof that the heavens are outer space. Everybody get ready. I don't mean just you guys, but I mean, everybody else, you know what I mean. Genesis 15:5, and he bringeth him out without, and saith, look attentively, I pray thee, towards the heavens. Now, let's stop. Is the heavens the place where ghosts and spirit beings lives? You know what I mean? Is it? Well, where are you supposed to look when you look for that, right? Listen to what it says. I pray thee, look towards the heavens, and count the stars. So the heavens is where the stars are, right? Genesis 22:17. That blessing I bless thee, and multiplying I multiply thy seed as stars of the heavens. Genesis 26:4. And I have multiplied thy seed as stars of the heavens. Again in Exodus 32, I won't say it again, right? And in Deuteronomy 1:10. Deuteronomy 4:19. And lest thou lift up thine eyes towards the heavens, and hast seen the sun, and the moon, and the stars. Oh! And all the host of the heavens. Host is people, they're beings, living things. It don't mean stars, it just said stars. Right? When you look up to the heavens, you see the sun, the moon, the stars, and all the hosts of the heavens. Right? And this is a chastisement verse. It's saying that if you lift up thine eyes, remember, Satan hadn't been cast down yet. All the bad ones are still up there, okay? Remember that. And let's read it again. Unless thou lift up thine eyes towards the heavens, and hast seen the sun, the moon, and the stars, and all the host of the heavens, and thou hast been forced, and hast bowed thyself to them, and served them, which Jehovah thy God has apportioned to all the peoples under the whole heavens. A lot of revelations in that one little verse, right? God has apportioned to all the peoples under the whole heavens, right? Which Jehovah thy God has apportioned to. What is that showing you? That's showing you that they have authority over us. Who are the ones who come down and smite Sodom? Who are the ones who come down and seal people? Who are the ones that do all the stuff? The heavenly messengers. The ones that come from the stars. Right? But you aren't supposed to bow to them and worship them. Okay? And notice how it says that God apportioned to all the peoples. Apportioned is talking about the allotment. They have lordship over us. It's undeniable. All the first verses I just read confirm this. But you are not to worship them. When John received the revelations, he bowed before that messenger to worship him, to give reference to him. And that messenger said, don't you dare do that. You only bow to God. Okay? So they have lordship over us. They have authority over us. They're dignities. Okay? But we are not supposed to worship them. Just like you don't go to court and say to the judge, oh, holy judge. Like, you don't do that. You don't worship police officers because they have lordship over you. You know what I mean? Or kings. Kings have lordship over you, but they're not gods to be worshipped. You see what I mean? Even that's a play on word. Because the Old Testament and the New say that we're all gods. Why? Because what is a god? Did you know they don't have little g and capital G in Hebrew? There's no such thing. There's no big G and little g. It's all, it's all just gods. I apologize for that. Okay? The great secret is that we are sons of God. The sons of God is B'nai Elohim. B'nai Elohim were the beings who were present at creation, like I talked about. From the book of Job, it reveals that, right? They're the B'nai Elohim are the ones from Genesis 6:4 who fornicated with man. There's countless beings out there. It doesn't mean that every single one of them fornicate. You see what I mean? Don't have your mind limited, okay? So anyways, let's move on quickly. Yeah, firmament, I won't get into that because it's a little confusing, and I think at the end of the day, it doesn't make too... I used to cover that in older videos, but I won't get into that. It's going to kind of put like a speed bump in the middle of this here, but I'm not putting down what you guys are saying though, at all. Not at all. I'm not going against what you're saying, but I just won't get into that because it's confusing. So, where was I last? Deuteronomy 4:19, yes. Okay. So the point where I was getting to is that he's apportioned all the peoples. That's the authorities, this and that there. Okay, so moving on, we have Judges 5:20, which I talked about before I open that up. I talked about that in part 1, my video from yesterday, but let's go read that again because it's pertinent. This is an example where God uses his host who are in the heavens, okay, the celestial beings, to come and help fight battles on earth. Okay? In verse 20, and that alone proves that not every alien is evil. I mean, obviously, why would God, it's so silly, like, why would God create a beautiful universe with countless galaxies and then they'd all just be evil? It's so stupid, really. It's just stupid. There's no other word for it. And then you're going to say that, oh, Earth is the good one. Everything else is evil. But then look at our Earth. Our Earth is as pathetic, dark, and evil as it can get. People killing babies, aborting babies, you know what I mean? Eating people, all this trash and filthy. Do you want to say that the heavens are evil and the Earth is good? Like, it's just so ridiculous. That's the problem with being narrow-minded, right? But anyways, in Judges 5, verse 20. Well, I'll start from 19 for the context. It says, kings came. They fought. They fought kings of Canaan in Tanakh. By waters of Megiddo. Gain of money they took not. From the heavens they fought. We just established what the heavens were. Outer space, right? From the heavens they fought. So that's aliens coming. Aliens who work for God coming to the aid of mankind. So from the heavens they fought. The stars from their highways fought with Sisera. Now, biblically, the word stars is not my opinion. Biblically, Old and New Testament, the word stars is a metaphor. It's used interchangeably for messengers. Okay, Revelations uses that term interchangeably a ton of times. I saw a star descend to the earth. The star was a messenger, right? In countless places. So it says the stars from their highways fought with Sisera. That's what it's talking about. The messengers. From the heavens they fought. Okay? And then in verse 23, God says, curse Meroz. Meroz is not a place in this earth. It is another star. That is what they even say in Jewish scripture. Okay, it says, curse Meroz, said a messenger of Jehovah. Cursing, curse ye its inhabitants, for they came not to the help of Jehovah, to the help of Jehovah among the mighty. So that is an incredible verse that shows something just absolutely amazing. Okay? So let's go down the list for heavens again, find any more verses to help define it as outer space. Oh yeah, I'll definitely be leaving this video up. This is part of my rendezvous series. Yeah, I've read the book Enoch and all of that as well, and Jubilees, yeah. If there's a book out there, I've pretty much read it. I can confidently say that. There's very little that I haven't read. I'm not being pompous, like it's just a fact. Like I really have. Like almost every denomination of Satanism I've studied. Not because I want to do it, because I want to learn things, you know what I mean? Like everything. All forms of esoteric, all forms of alchemy, Freemasonry, Satanism, you know, anything you can think of. I haven't got into Shinto, because I think it's kind of a waste of time. But anyways, let's go on. Yes. Psalm 8 verse 3. Oh, and take care, my friend. Thank you for coming by and giving support. Thank you. Stay safe and be blessed. And Psalm 8:3, for I see the heavens, a work of thy fingers, moon and stars that thou did establish. It is fully undeniable now. It's fully confirmed. You cannot deny that the heavens is outer space. You simply cannot deny that. More confirmation, Isaiah 13:10, for the stars of the heavens and their constellations cause not their light to shine. The heavens is outer space, right? So it says the messengers of the heavens, it's meaning the messengers of outer space, right? But I'm giving leeway for there being, there is a highest heaven, which could have spiritual beings and quasi-spiritual physical beings around. Yeah, fine. No point arguing, over that. But we cannot argue with the facts that the Bible does say. It doesn't say anywhere about a higher. There's only one verse in the whole Bible where it says the heaven of heavens. I included that in my book when I wrote my book, right? There's only one verse that says that. I tried to scour to find support for that. Could only find one verse. So we don't actually have any biblical proof of a spiritual heaven. We do not. Okay? Just the celestial heavens. Okay? So going on, we're near the bottom of the list. Isaiah 14:13, and thou sayest in thy heart, the heavens I go up, above stars of God I raise my throne. And I sit in the mount of meeting in the sides of the north. Ezekiel 32:7, and in quenching thee I have covered the heavens, and made black their stars. The sun with a cloud I do cover, and the moon causeth not its light to shine. Daniel 8:10, yea, it exerteth unto the host of the heavens, and causeth them to fall to the earth of the host. So we know the heavens are outer space. So Daniel 8, this is something I've covered many times in my book and in my videos. So this is talking about, I'm not going to open up the chapter, it's talking about one of those figures, like one of the guys who opposed Jesus, right? But forgetting that specifics, right? It's telling us that the host of the heavens, meaning aliens, fell down to the earth. Okay? Yea, it exerteth unto the host of the heavens, and causeth to fall to the earth of the host, and of the stars, and trampleth them down. We all know there aren't suns crashing down to the earth, right? Stars is a metaphor for messengers, like I said before, right? And why would they use that metaphor, stars? Because when you look up in the night sky, or in the sky, and you see something bright moving around, it looks like what? A star. But what is it? It's an alien flying around, right? Thank you. At no point anywhere in the Bible, except for I think like one place, nowhere does it say that that angels, that messengers have bird wings and pluck harps. It's nowhere. There's one place which is actually probably metaphorical, where it says that there's women with wings like a stork. But this could be another race of beings. And there are races of beings like that. So, but still, if you have physical bird wings, then you're not a spirit. And the same people, that's the problem when you're small-minded in a box, you contradict yourself, and you don't even know what you're talking about, right? That's the problem. There's plenty of other heavenly beings that have wings. The seraphim have like 12 wings. The cherubim have like 6 wings or whatever, right? Lots of them have wings. They're physical. If you're a spirit, you don't need to flap wings. You don't need feathers. Feathers are made out of keratin. Why would you need something physical to fly if you're a spirit? You see what I mean? Why would the cherubim fly in a Merkabah? You know what I mean? If they're spirits. Why? It doesn't make sense. If you're a spirit, you can go anywhere. You don't need a vehicle, right? Thank you. Joel 2:10, at their face trembleth as the earth, shaken have the heavens, sun and moon have been made black, and stars have gathered up their shining. Matthew 24:29, and immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from the heaven. So, what about to all the people who say that heaven is a spooky spirit, well, not spooky, but the spirit place? Seriously. There's no stars in a spiritual place. It's outer space, right? There you go. So that proves that the heavens are outer space. That's all I need to do there. So let's go look at heavens and host, okay? And then I'll get into my favorite part, which are the verses about when Jesus comes back with the aliens to rapture the people. Okay? And this is so important, and important for me to be passionate about, because when the end days do come and Jesus arrives here, right? All the people who think that angels are spirits only, right? They think that angels are spirits only, and they also think that demons are spirits only. What are the physical beings that are going to come? Where'd they come from? A galactic Rubik cube? Like, come on, like, it doesn't make sense. So when Jesus comes with the messengers, and you see all these beings coming down, these are the angels. And what are you going to do? Demonize them? And then when you die and you get judged, and you stand before God, and God says, why did you demonize my redeeming angels? I sent them to come save you. You were ready to be saved. But when they came to your house, you spat on their name. Why? Oh, it's because they appeared in a UFO. And God's just going to go, yeah, take him away, please. That's what's going to happen, right? So people need to hear this, right? Genesis 2:1. And the heavens and the earth are completed, and all their host. Right? So there are hosts, there's beings in the heavens, which is outer space. So God created the earth with beings on it. He created the glorious heavens with beings in it. Why would God create trillions of galaxies and not put anything in it? Because he's twiddling his thumbs? Like, come on, right? And like I said before, why is he going to create all that and then designate it as evil just because they're in a different place? So ridiculous. So let's see, what else we got here? Deuteronomy 17:3. And he does go and serve other gods, and does bow himself to them, and to the sun, or to the moon, or to any of the hosts of the heavens, which I have not commanded. 1 Kings 22:19. And he saith, therefore hear a word of Jehovah. I have seen Jehovah sitting on his throne, and all the hosts of the heavens standing by him on his right and on his left. Even more true after Jesus, because all the bad ones are kicked out, right? All the hosts of heaven, all the beings in outer space stand by God and serve him, right? That's why we saw what we saw in Judges 5:19. There's many verses from 2 Kings where it talks about people ended up worshiping the star beings, right? Example, 2 Kings 21:5. And he buildeth altars to all the hosts of the heavens in the two courts of the house of Jehovah. He even talks about Baal. Baal was Marduk, who I talked about in that video, right? It says that Baal is the one who runs all that apostasy. I'm not going to waste more time reading all that because there's tons of these verses. Oh, look at this one, 2 Kings 23:5, right? And those making perfume to Baal, to the sun, and to the moon, and to the planets, and to all the hosts of the heavens. Right? 2 Chronicles 18:18. And he saith, therefore, hear ye a word of Jehovah. I have seen Jehovah sitting on his throne, and all the hosts of the heavens standing on his right and his left. Here's another example when people falsely worshipped these ones who have lordship over us. It says here in 2 Chronicles 33:5, and he buildeth altars to all the hosts of the heavens in the two courts of the house of Jehovah. You see, they have lordship over us, right? There was a time, in Hebrew, Baal means Lord. It means Lord. Look up in Hebrew, Baal means Lord. It's a word, sorry, my nose itches. It's a word shared with the Babylonians. Babylonians called their god Baal, right? There was the great Baal, who was Marduk, but also because it just meant Lord. You see what I mean? You can call, back in the Old Testament, you could call God Lord. You could call your magistrate Lord. Lord also meant husband. So a wife will call her husband Lord. It doesn't mean that he's God. You know what I mean? But there was a point in the Old Testament, because of people worshiping the star beings, God says, look, I've had enough of this. I don't want to hear the word Baal come out of your mouth again. You will call me Ishi. Why? Because they used to call God Baal. Because it's just a word that means Lord, right? That's the problem. These were the ones who had lordship over us. God divided up the nations of man according to the sons of God. There's another verse. If I remember, I'll read that later. Okay? We just heard before in an earlier verse I read in this video where it said he apportioneth, right? They had lordship over us. That's why they're called principalities, authorities, and dignities. If they didn't have any type of authority on us, why would he call them that? You know what I mean? And so when you start to worship them, that's when you're doing wrong. So in 2 Chronicles 33:3, and he turneth and buildeth the high places that Hezekiah his father has broken down, and raiseth altars for Baalim, lords. That's what Baalim means, lords. It's the plural of Baal. And maketh shrines, and boweth himself to all the hosts of the heavens, and serveth them. Nowhere in the Bible does it actually say in the scripture Baal is the name for something bad. It wouldn't say that because it's a Hebrew word for the word Lord. So it's that verse there is inadvertently also telling you what I've been saying, that these higher beings have lordship over us. I'm not saying every single dude out there on every planet, the ones that God has appointed. You know what I mean? Like the magistrates and the police officers of outer space, whatever you want to call it. It sounds funny when you put it like that, but really speaking, has anybody ever wondered? I wanted to talk about this in part one, but has anybody ever wondered why the aliens haven't invaded us? Why? You know why? Because they don't have permission. Do you ever see the police force invade mankind? No. Do you ever see judges get together in their cars and invade mankind? No. Because it's their job to regulate mankind. Right? That's why you have not seen an alien invasion, and you never will. There will not be an evil alien invasion at the end of days. This is something very important that I realized the other day. I wish I had realized it earlier in my life. It would save me from a lot of false steps that I made when I was like 18 years old in my thinking. I used to think there would be a bad alien invasion, but guess what? God revealed everything to us in the Bible. There's no mention of evil aliens coming down to invade. And after all, how could they when they're all cast down here already? Thank you. Right? The only thing it does talk about is good ones coming down from the heavens to rapture the people off the earth. That's why it's so important to get these facts straight, because when they do come to redeem us, okay, you don't want to demonize your redeemers, right? Straight up. Let's read some comments. Yeah, that's what I meant. Marduk was named Baal, right? That was his name. Just like how, that's what I meant by saying in the Old Testament you could call God Lord. The word Lord is Baal in Hebrew, right? It's just a word. So it's a title. That's the way to put it. It's a title. That's different. But at the same time, they called Marduk Baal. That was his name as well. So it's a name / title in light of Marduk, right? Baal was son of Enki, right? Oh, I've actually found inadvertently the verse that says the heaven of heavens. So it's the only one in the Bible, Nehemiah 9:6. Thou art he. So for anybody who wants to say that the heavens are a place for spirits only, that's been debunked right now with all the verses I've already said. Can't come back from you can't come back from that. But this is just a cherry on top. This is the only place in the Bible where it talks about another heaven, which somebody could technically speculate whether it's spiritual or not. Nehemiah 9:6. Thou art he, O Jehovah, thyself. Thou hast made the heavens of the heavens, and all their host, the earth and all that are on it, the seas and all that are in them, and thou art keeping all of them alive, and the hosts of the heavens to thee are bowing themselves. So, for the people who think that all aliens are demons, do demons bow to God? No. Psalm 33:6. By the word of Jehovah the heavens have been made, and by the breath of his mouth all their host. Just like in Genesis, when he made life on our earth, he made it with his breath. Okay, the life in all living things is the breath of God, the spirit, the soul, the life of God. Likewise with all the alien beings, all the extraterrestrial life forms. Aliens is just a buzzword that's got so much negativity attached to it because of social construct for the last 100 years. That's the problem. That's why God is called Jehovah of hosts. Isaiah 13:13. Therefore the heavens I cause to tremble, and the earth does shake from its place in the wrath of Jehovah of hosts, and in the day of the heat of his anger. Isaiah 45:12. I made earth and man on it I made earth and man on it prepared. I, my hand, stretched out the heavens, and all their host I have commanded. So here we have an Old Testament verse, right? Before Satan fell down, God was always in charge. He just tolerated the bad guys up there, right, for a while. And then he said, time's out. That's why I talked about Jesus being part of the deadline before, right? But even when the bad guys were up there, God commands all the host. Why? Because he's in charge. Right? So for any Christian nowadays to say that all aliens are demons, you're in direct violation of God. Direct violation. A lot. There's so many more verses, but they're basically like repeats of what I read. But there's a lot about the host of the heavens. Check this one out. Jeremiah 33:22. As the host of the heavens is not numbered, nor the sand of the sea measured, so I multiply the seed of David my servant and the Levites my ministers. So there's countless beings up there. So that does it for that. So now let's do the little search for messengers. This is where it's going to get really cool. This is what I wanted to cover yesterday, but I didn't want to get too biblical in my first video. So, and just to prove, because I got it up here now, Genesis 19:1, it was messengers who came to Abraham. And two of the messengers came towards Sodom at even. And Lot is sitting at the gate of Sodom. So that's where you can find it. Genesis 19. They are messengers, meaning they're from outer space. Okay? And they looked human and they ate food. They're not spirits. So, Genesis 28:12. And he dreameth, and lo, a ladder set up on the earth, and its head is touching the heavens. And lo, messengers of God are going up and coming down by it. This is proof that the aliens were coming up and down from the earth back then, which they were. They were. Yeah, how many? Okay, I got to expand the page here because there's a lot of results. Let's expand it. I'm just going to go straight for the New Testament here. That's more pertinent. Anything else would be irrelevant. Unfortunately, there's 82 verses here. I don't need to read all of them. I'm just gonna, but it's gonna take a little time to go through them. Yeah, exactly. That's what alien means. Yeah, foreign. Good point. That is a good point. That didn't click in my head. Thank you for pointing that out. So, I'm so excited to read the searches for messengers, right? Because we've just established the heavens are outer space. They're populated with living beings. That worship God, bow to God, God commands them, right? His armies, his host is in the heaven. Okay? Matthew 4:6. And saith to him, this is when Satan tempted Jesus, if son thou art of God, cast thyself down, for it has been written, that his messengers he shall charge concerning thee, and on hands they shall bear thee up, that thou mayest not dash on a stone thy foot. So Satan was trying to get Jesus to jump from a high place, right? To provoke the good aliens to come down and save him. Isn't that kind of funny? But you can't deny it because of all the evidence we just read. Right? And check this one out. This one blew my mind yesterday. Matthew 4:11. Then does the devil leave him. So he lost the temptation battle, so the devil left him. And what's it say, right? And lo, messengers came and were ministering to him, Jesus. So after Jesus won over Satan at the temptation, some good aliens came down and hung out with Jesus. Isn't that cool? One sec. Okay, one sec. I'll continue. Now, Matthew 13:39. And the enemy who sowed them is the devil, and the harvest, meaning the rapture, well, the redemption at the very end when people are taken away, right, is a full end of the age, and the reapers are messengers. So we've established that messengers are the good aliens, right? The good extraterrestrials. The reapers are messengers. That's why when the end comes and they arrive, they're not going to be spooky spirits flying around coming down out of rainbows. You know what I mean? They're going to be physical beings coming from a physical locality in physical craft. They're not going to have Superman capes on, little spandex tights. They're not going to be doing that. Okay? Some of them might be glorious etheric beings of higher nature. Maybe they can do that, but not all. Right? The reapers are messengers. We got to be on the side of good, not on the side of demonizing everything unlike us, right? So let's scroll down. I'm almost done. Matthew 13:41. The Son of Man shall send forth his messengers, and they shall gather up out of his kingdom all the stumbling blocks and those doing the unlawlessness. Matthew 13:49. So shall it be in the full end of the age. The messengers shall come forth and separate the evil out of the midst of the righteous. Matthew 16:27. For the Son of Man is about to come in the glory of his Father with his messengers, and then he will reward each according to his work. Matthew 18:10. This is kind of cool. This is the only verse in the Bible that talks about guardian angels. But now that we know what angels really are, the word angels doesn't exist. It's messengers, right? Guardian angels are actually guardian aliens. I mean, it sounds wacko, but it's only comes across as wacko because of all the social construct that's deceived us, right? Matthew 18:10. Beware, ye may not despise one of these little ones, kids, right? For I say to you that their messengers in the heavens do always behold the face of my Father who is in the heavens. And that shows another cool thing, that these good aliens, they get to see God's face, right? That's pretty cool. Angels don't live on earth with us. Their domain is the heavens. They're not allowed, that's why I said before, there's rules. They're not allowed to come down here, mingle, this, that, and the other. Back in the ancient times, some of them had lordship over us as dignitaries and authorities. That time ended when God said, no more of this, because you're all worshiping them, right? And some of them fell and wanted to be worshipped, you know what I mean? So it's really incredible stuff. Matthew 24:31. And he shall send his messengers with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his chosen from the four winds, from the ends of the heavens unto the ends thereof. It just popped into my head, and it's true. People in, extraterrestrial conspiracy, I don't like using that word, but like people who are in the field or genre of alien talk and stuff, we often theorize that certain tribes of people in ancient times or whatever migrated off the planet. They became, technologically advanced and they left. Native American tribes have talked about that, right? That there was a white tribe, Caucasian tribe in North America who was more advanced than all the others, the Native Americans, who, well, the whites were Native Americans, but anyways, playing with words. And the white ones lived on top of a mesa, and they had flying craft. And then one day, they noticed over time their crafts got more and more advanced, and then one day they left for the stars, and they never came back. Okay, there is a verse in the Bible where God says that even if you make your nest among the stars, I will bring you down from there, right? So where it says here, from the ends of the heavens unto the ends thereof, that might be meaning that, if your true lineage is earth, because this is the judgment of earth, I'm going to bring you down from there to be down where you should be at the judgment day. Just a thought that I have, right? Interesting. But it could just be meaning, when it says the ends of the heavens, could be talking about on the earth, but may not, right? Interesting to think about. Matthew 24:36, and concerning that day and the hour, known is known, not even the messengers of the heavens, except my Father only. Matthew 25:31, and whenever the Son of Man may come in his glory, and all the holy messengers with him, then he shall sit upon a throne of glory. Jesus threatened, I think it was Satan, some bad person, or Satan himself. He threatened Satan, hey, if you don't watch your mouth, I'm going to tell my dad to bring down a legion of aliens. Check this out. Matthew 26:53, dost thou think that I am not able now to call upon my Father, and he will place beside me more than 12 legions of messengers? That's pretty cool. I'm just picturing like when Jesus does come back, right? Like what we're going to see. That's me mind-blowing, man. Absolutely mind-blowing. Mark 1:13, proof again that the aliens were with Jesus in the wilderness before he got tempted. Look, and he was there in the wilderness 40 days being tempted by the adversary, and he was with the beast, and the messengers were ministering to him. Mark 8:38, for whoever may be ashamed of me and of my words in this adulterous and sinful generation, the Son of Man also shall be ashamed of him when he may come in the glory of his Father with the holy messengers. A lot of this stuff is repeated, but we get the idea now, right? When he comes back, he's coming with his messengers. Jesus is what? He says, I'm from above. Jesus was from the heavens, right? And why would that be? right? By definition, he's an alien, but only because, like you said, it means foreign. He's from another place. Jesus says, I'm not of this world. I'm from above. And I will go back to where I came from. That's what he said, right? And when he comes, why is he going back there? Because he's in charge of it all. He's the prince of the host. I gotta look that up too. I'll make that the last thing I read out. He's in charge of all the host. So, and look at this, Luke 2:15. And it came to pass when the messengers were gone away from them to the heavens, that the men, the shepherds, said to one another. I mentioned in part 1 that the Star of Bethlehem wasn't a star. It was extraterrestrials. Because it says it was a light that guided the shepherds. It stopped, shone light on them. This and that there was moving. That ain't a star. It's not a shooting star. Sounds crazy. I won't deny it. But Luke 2:15, when it came to pass, when the messengers were gone away from them to the heavens. That proves it. There's no argument, right? That's it. And the shepherds is the next word, right? Yep. That's a parallel of something else I just read, so I want to read that. Man, this is a big list. Like I said, it's 80 something verses. I don't need to read all of these, so I'm going to scan down quick for anything that's unique. Luke 12:8, and I say to you, everyone, whoever may confess with me before men, the Son of Man shall also confess with him before the messengers of God. Luke 15:10, it's nice to know that they're so righteous up there. It says, so I say to you, joy does come before the messengers of God over one sinner reforming. You see, stuff like this is so important because all the people who hate on aliens, who say they're all demons, right? You're not reflecting on the fact that it's the opposite. They're so righteous, they have nothing to do with you. But if you reform from your sin, they celebrate. That's how righteous they are, right? Luke 20, verse 36. Proof that after Satan, all his bad ones are cast out. Okay, once the bad have been gone away and it's just the righteous up there, the righteous don't die. They're immortals, right? Luke 20, verse 36. For neither are they able to die anymore, for they are like messengers. They are sons of God, B'nai Elohim, being sons of the rising again. John 1:51, and he saith to him, verily, verily, I say to you, henceforth ye shall see the heaven opened, and the messengers of God going up and coming down upon the Son of Man. Mary met some aliens too. John 20, verse 11, and Mary was standing near the tomb, weeping without, and she was weeping. Then she stooped down to the tomb, and beholdeth two messengers in white sitting. You know, depending on your translation, talks about their clothes being glittering and wonderful and spectacular, like heavenly clothing, right? The type of clothing that aliens would wear. Acts 7:53 reveals that the Jews got the law from aliens, who received the law by arrangement of messengers and did not keep it, from Acts 7:53. And again confirmed, Galatians 3:19, why then the law? On account of the transgressions it was added, till the seed might come to which the promise had been made, having been set in order through messengers in the hand of a mediator. Colossians 2:18 rebukes worshipping messengers. It says, let no one beguile you of your prize, delighting in humble-mindedness and in worship of the messengers, intruding into the things he has not seen, being vainly puffed up by the mind of his flesh. 2 Thessalonians 1:7, and to you who are troubled, rest with us in the revelation of the Lord Jesus from heaven with messengers of his power. 1 Timothy 3:16, even the aliens had to bear witness to Jesus' glory. Why? Because he's their prince. He rules them all. It says, and confessedly, great is the secret of piety. God was manifested in the flesh, declared righteous in spirit, seen by messengers, preached among nations, believed on in the world, taken up in glory. This is a reference to how he tabernacled in Christ. I'm not getting into that issue, right? So let's scroll down to Revelations. I'm not gonna. We'll be here forever. I'm still only 1/3 the way down the list. Oh, here, this one's relevant. 1 Peter 3:22, who is at, talking about Jesus, who is at the right hand of God, having gone on to the heaven, messengers and authorities and powers having been subjected to him. So he's in charge there, right? 2 Peter 2:4, talking about the bad ones who got kicked out of heaven. For if God messengers who sinned did not spare, but with chains of thick gloom, having cast them down to Tartarus, did deliver them to judgment, having been reserved. 2 Peter 2:11 says how aliens are greater than us. Whereas messengers in strength and power being greater, do not bear against them, talking about bad ones, right? Do not bear against them, the bad ones, before the Lord in evil speaking judgment. Aliens are righteous enough where they don't slander the bad ones, which is why Jesus said he did not dare slander Satan. Lead by example, right? Jude 1:6. Well, that was the first thing I read. Well, I'll read it anyways. Messengers also, those who did not keep their own principality, but did leave their proper dwelling to a judgment of a great day and bonds everlasting. Under darkness he is kept. Those are the fallen ones. So if you're rebuking the angels when they come because you think they're evil aliens, right? Then your lot is with the fallen angels, right? That's why this video is so important, right? Angels are in charge of the churches. Woohoo! Sounds crazy, right? Revelation 1:20. The secret of the 7 stars that thou hast seen upon my right hand, and the 7 gold lampstands. The 7 stars are messengers of the 7 assemblies. And the 7 lampstands that thou hast seen are the 7 assemblies. Revelation 5:11, and I saw and I heard the voice of many messengers around the throne, and the living creatures and the elders, and the number of them was myriads and myriads and thousands of thousands. In fact, it's the messengers, it's the aliens. That didn't click until just now. It's the aliens who dispense the 7 great plagues. Revelation 8:2, and I saw the 7 messengers who before God have stood, and there was given to them the 7 trumpets, the 7 plagues. Oh, sorry, the trumpets aren't plagues, but you know what I mean. It's all related. Revelation 8:13, and I saw and I heard one messenger flying in the mid-heaven, saying with a great voice, woe, woe, woe to those dwelling upon the land, from the rest of the voices of the trumpet of the 3 messengers who are about to sound. Revelation 9 talks about the release of the fallen angels, but I won't get into that, save some time. We already read Revelation 12, so I don't need to read that again. Yep, it is 7 messengers, 7 aliens who have the plagues. Revelation 15:1, and I saw another sign in the heaven, great and wonderful, 7 messengers having the 7 last plagues, because in these was completed the wrath of God. There we go. So the last thing I'll do for this video is the verses where Jesus is Prince of the Host. Joshua 5:14, when the person being spoken about actually met Jesus aforetime. And anyways, this is what it says. And he saith, No, for I am Prince of Jehovah's host. Now I have come. And Joshua falleth on his face to the earth and does obeisance, and saith to him, What is my Lord, speaking unto his servant? That was Jesus, Prince of Jehovah's host. I talk about it in my book. I'm not going to spend much time on this here, but there's like 6 verses in the Bible that say that the Messiah is the Prince. Okay? It's everywhere. Okay? He is the Prince. He's the Prince of the host. Okay? That's why in Daniel 8:11, which I read earlier, it's talking about either King Herod or the Antichrist. It says, And unto the Prince of the host it exerteth itself, and by it taken away has been the continual sacrifice, and thrown down the base of his sanctuary. Okay? So, there we go. So folks, aliens are not evil. And that's where I'm going to have to leave it for now. So anyways, God bless you all. Everybody take care. Thank you guys for coming. I'll be sure to read through all your comments afterwards. And also, I will mention that some of you have been leaving comments on other videos, but there's something wrong with my channel. It's not showing the comments. Like when I open them up on my device, the videos, I don't see your comments there. But if I go into YouTube Studio, they show up there, which makes no sense. So it's just really weird. But please be patient with me. It's not that I'm ignoring it. But anyways, folks, take care.
I'm going there.